Welcome, Sally, again to the Zoom room. A couple of teething problems with Zoom, but looks like it's all good. So I think let's just dive into the lesson. Share my screen, dive into the quote, the reading, and then the lesson. And yeah, it's 5 paragraphs of text, and then we can even get through that.
Okay.
All right. All attack.
All attack is self-attack. It cannot be anything else, arising from your own decision not to be what you are. It is an attack on your identification. Attack is thus the way in which your identification is lost, because when you attack, you must have forgotten what you are. And if your reality is perfect love, if your reality is perfect love, when you attack, you are not remembering it. Is it meant to have an S on the end of love?
Yeah. If your reality is
love.
Oh,
yeah, I see. As a line.
If your reality is the original was your reality is God's. I think when you're attacking, you're not remembering Him. So I just translated that to love. Is your reality is God's or perfect love's, which is pretty explicit. I mean, you can't say that Yeshua is not explicit with us. He's telling us straight, this is what you're doing. Yeah. Whenever you attack anyone or anything, and you're really attacking your own self, you're attacking your own pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is kind of self-evident, because as long as attack thoughts are going on, that pure formless awareness of perfect love is not present in your mind. It's been covered over, and you have something else going on in your mind. So whether you attack or others, or you feel like you're being attacked, you have attack in your mind, and that is a disturbance that covers over pure formless awareness of perfect love. So it's then self-evident that all attack is self-attack, because you're attacking your own identity as the one self, or the Christ, and the pure formless awareness of perfect love that is part of that identity. Whenever you attack or you feel attacked, it's the same thing. Whether you're attacking or you're feeling attacked, it's the same thing. Attack is now present in your mind, and that is the veil that covers over pure formless awareness of perfect love. As he says, reality is only that, and when you attack, you are not remembering. Or if you give reality to any attack, someone or something externally is apparently attacking you, and you make that real in your mind, it's the same thing. You're making attack real, and you're denying the pure formless awareness of perfect love. Question?
No, I did some clearing on feeling attacked by a client who she didn't quite get the work, and so I was working on that this morning. I find all attack is self-attack is a really good, not a mantra, but just to keep in mind as I go through everyday life, because it shows up in all sorts of different subtle ways.
Yeah. It's one of those lessons you could have every day, just so, okay, remember, all attack is self-attack, because it keeps you vigilant. Okay, I'm thinking attack thoughts. What I'm really doing is I'm attacking my own higher self, because I'm not now aware of my pure formless awareness of perfect love that is part of that self, and I'm aware of something else, and that is an attack upon myself. As he says here, your own identification, your own identity. It's the way in which your identification is lost. So we stop identifying with who we really are, source, God, love, pure formless awareness of perfect love, and we now identify with this false self that's taken its place, which believes in attack and fear and guilt, and is just made up of those thoughts. That's why the undoing of the ego is the undoing of its thought system. The component parts of the ego are thoughts of fear, guilt, sin, attack. And so it's looking at those and with these eyes and saying, okay, I'm just attacking myself here. So I'm willing to let that thought and that emotion go.
Yeah. Sorry, I was going to say, I find it very subtle as well, that like you said on one of the recordings about you attack the weather, you can attack, I found that I have attacked the house, like the house is wrong. The house has got a hole or a crack, or the door doesn't shut or something. I'm attacking it. And you can very easily overlook those little attacks. Just notice the big ones when somebody has a go at you about something. But the little ones all add up to big ones, don't they?
Well, it's all, what Yeshua is saying is it's all the same. One error is the same as another. It's all illusion. It's all false. So actually one error is not harder to correct than another because they're all the same. They're all false. Someone attacking you directly might seem to be harder than letting go of your misperception that the door is broken and why is this a problem? But it's the same thing. Ultimately, what you're doing through that attack is making this reality real.
Yeah.
Remember, any resistance to what is, you go, this shouldn't be the way it is, and you resist it and you say, I have a problem. That is an attack. Resistance, aversion, as the Buddhists call it, is an attack upon yourself, because you're attacking your own identity. You're moving away from perfect love, and you're now in the ego very clearly. So resistance is attack. Resisting anything is actually attacking yourself, and that's why it's very subtle. So okay, these little subtle attacks that come in, and for most people it's so normal that they don't question it and say, well, okay, hang on, what am I actually thinking here? Why am I attacking the weather or the house? They're not conscious of it. It's just thoughts that arise and they just think them, and there's no awareness that, oh, hang on, that's actually an attack thought, which is making me unhappy in this moment, and it contributes to my general state of unhappiness. The more I think these attack thoughts, the more generally unhappy I'm going to be, and so I need to be vigilant and stop doing this. Stop all attack. He's saying attack will be given up entirely or not at all.
Yeah.
As long as one attack is possible, then the ego must be real. You see, because only in the ego does attack make any sense. So the ego is a great investment in attack because it keeps it real in your mind, prevents you from seeing its total unreality and being willing to let it all go.
Yeah. That's interesting that resistance is attack. I've not put those two words together, so that's good to remember.
Yeah, resistance or aversion, as it's also called. In the Buddhist teaching, aversion. So it's a desire for something not to be the way it is. That's what aversion is, which we do all the time. Oh, this shouldn't be that way. So whenever you find yourself complaining to yourself, blaming anyone else, going, oh, this really sucks, why is it happening this way, that's what you're indulging in. It's a self-attack, because in that moment the true self is denied. It's pure formless awareness of perfect love. It's covered over, and you've installed another thought system and self-concept instead of it in your mind. Okay,
very good one. Yeah. In today's quote from section 2 of chapter 10 of ACIM text, entitled The Decision to Forget, Yeshua directly points to the simple truth that whenever you attack anyone or anything, you are really attacking your own true self or identity. When you fully realize this, you'll automatically stop all your attacking thoughts and behavior. because you'll understand that you're really being hurting yourself. And the truth of this astute observation by Einstein will finally dawn on your previously deluded mind. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. By Albert Einstein. Yeah.
Bang your chair.
Bang your head here. Exactly. Yeah, I did like that picture that went with it. You kind of know this stuff, but then it goes deeper, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, I know what I'm doing, but I did it again. Yeah.
You keep attacking yourself, but because it doesn't seem like it. See, the ego's cunning. It's like, oh, no, you can project attack outwards, and then you're not attacking yourself. This is the illusion. And it requires a lot of awareness and vigilance to recognize, no, it's always an attack on myself, no matter what form it takes. So I'm just not going to play the game anymore. No, attack has got to go. It's not part of my thought system. It must be undone entirely or not at all.
Yeah.
Which is a clear-cut call to vigilance, and to really practice these lessons, so that whenever it comes in and you become aware, you need to become aware first. Okay, yes, I'm doing it again. I'm attacking myself. Okay, so I'm hitting my head against the wall. Remember, this quote, and you go, why? No, I don't want to do that anymore. I know that hurts. I know it's not really helping. So I need to let it go. The remedy for all attack is letting go, forgiveness of the thought and emotion that's behind the attack.
So I'm guessing the reason somebody attacks us is because we've got those attack thoughts in us, and we attract it outwardly, just to make it more obvious to us that we've got it within us. Yeah.
So because it's all a projection, it's the inside out story. That projection shows us this inner world very clearly. So that's actually very helpful. That relationship between the internal and the outer is the key to this whole undoing process. Because without being able to see your projections, how would you know what they are? So you need to be able to really see them, and if they're hidden in your subconscious, it's difficult to see them. So the genius of the Holy Spirit is that it turns around the ego and says, okay, so what you've done is done this whole projection thing, and the projection is the defense mechanism for this thought system of separation. The Holy Spirit uses that defense mechanism to undo the ego, because the defense mechanism helps you to see exactly what the ego is doing, what its thought system must be made up of. Okay, so the thought, there's attack showing up, so therefore, I must be attacking myself. Others are attacking me, I must actually be attacking myself, and that's now being revealed to me in my dream, so that I can bring it into conscious awareness, bring up that thought system of attack, and then release it through this letting go process. So I'm no longer bound by that really insane, destructive thought system. So that's the Achilles heel of the ego, the projection, and it's the reinterpretation of the projections that will get you home, which is why we need the world. The world is given to us from the Spirit's perspective as a learning device, to learn the truth of who we really are, to let go of what's false, to learn the truth, to learn to discern between the two. And we need the world and experiences in the world in order to learn that. So it has its purpose. The world has its purpose while we're still learning, while we're still unawakened, and there's still a resonant belief in separation, because the world becomes the means by which we can heal it. And that's the only purpose of your life. The only meaning of this sad, deluded dream is that you can transcend it. You can awaken from it. And therein lies your salvation. And therein lies all the meaning you'll find in this world. So instead of going, well, it's just, meaningless and I can't really see any point, you go, no, the point is to correct my mind. So I have a strong purpose now. And I know what my purpose is. And every experience is to serve that purpose. And that's going to speed your journey up very quickly, because now you're open to truly learning. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's go back to here. So when you realize that you've really just been hurting yourself.
When you realize you've really just been hurting yourself over and over again, a pattern that may have continued for your entire life until now, the futile insanity of the ego, which remember is just a belief in separation, will become so evident to you that you may feel depressed and even suicidal as the ego directly attacks you in defense of its insanity. The dark night of the soul is the time for courage and faith that you will ultimately transcend this final block to the awareness of love's presence, as Yeshua calls anything that is not perfect love in the introduction to the ICM text. Yeah, it does get to that point, doesn't it, where it makes you want to give up, doesn't it? And opt out.
It would rather kill your body, than have it itself be undone.
Yeah.
So these kinds of thoughts are quite common. And I think you've just got to go, well, it's normal. That's what happens. I mean, you're going into really looking and exposing this crazy thought system, which is a death wish. And so, of course, thoughts of death and despair and all that's going to come up, because that's part of it. And so, it's a normal part of the hero's journey, although it doesn't feel normal. But what you're doing is you're exposing the insanity of this entity that's you've identified with. And it's, when you see, when you're really seeing it, it's not pretty. But that's exactly why you need to look at it. Because when you see how ugly it is, you go, well, why would I want to continue? I want that. You're saying you really want that? A death wish? This, mad, insane, chaotic, crazy thought system that brings endless pain, suffering, misery, sickness, and death to everyone on this planet. The source of all suffering. Do you really want that, or are you willing to let it go? And he's encouraging us here to let it go completely. So, okay, I'm done with the whole thought system, because I can't hold on to a little bit of it. Or I'll just be a little bit separate, have a little bit of a body, a little bit of a world. It's that's not the way it works. It's an all or nothing deal. You're in it or you're not. So you believe in separation or you don't. Okay, carry on.
Sometimes it feels like I don't believe in it in my conscious mind. Yeah, but sometimes it's like it's not conscious. Well, it isn't conscious, is it? This idea of separation. But, if somebody asked me, do I believe I'm separate? I'd say no. But, like we know, it's deep-seated, isn't it? Anyway.
And it's got entrenched, the trick of the ego, it's got entrenched in our perception. So it's invented a body and an external world that now seemingly has perceptions to confirm this belief. I mean, talk about going to great lengths. It's gone to enormous lengths to convince us that it's true, that separation is true. So very, very deep-seated, which is why it requires, this very detailed and disciplined and deep-seated, deep mind training process to undo it. And then this program, I don't know another spiritual program that has this kind of depth. It will take you, really into the dark night of the soul and consciously and say, okay, let's really go there. And that's what he's trying to do here with this mind training. It will take you through through the hero's journey, I believe, more quickly than anything else. If you want it, obviously you've got to do the work. But the daily lessons, just you start learning more and more, and it accelerates the journey. So in a year or 2 or 3, you could have done it. It doesn't have to take 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you going with your hourly practice, by the way?
It's better than it was yesterday. Yeah. not perfect. But I did the hour theta meditation last night. So normally I kind of skip the last hour or 2 of the evening. So I did that instead. I think that counts for 2 check-ins, doesn't it? An hour's meditation.
Yeah. Well, meditation. So.
Yeah. So that was good. Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't want to get to the stage where I tell myself off for missing one, because that just adds, resistance into the situation. But yeah, I'm conscious. It's helping.
Well, observe if you do miss one and say, okay, I missed that, so I need to just get on it next time, and then the next hour I'll do it. That's all. So saying just correct. Don't beat yourself up. Just correct it and do it next time.
And then when I did the 8 o'clock one, I just listened to one of the breath breaks while I was doing what I was doing. So I didn't actually stop anything. That was my way of sneaking it into the routine.
Yeah.
That worked.
Yeah, you can.
And I quite like moving when I'm listening to them anyway. So that works. So see how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can do one of the meditations today, do a bit of movement, and so like you raise your arms, breathe in, and then exhale, let go. That can be quite good. Do along with the lesson.
Yeah.
Because there's a natural kind of a letting go as you exhale, you release. It's like you let it go.
Yeah. Okay, shall I carry on reading?
Yes.
The dark night of the soul is the time for courage and faith that you will ultimately transcend this final block to the awareness of love's presence. As Yeshua calls anything that is not perfect love in the, I did that already, didn't I? In the introduction to the Course in Miracles text.
I think you may have, yeah.
But how can I know that I'll get through this block and all other blocks to find the peace of perfect love? Because many other people have journeyed through the deepest, darkest darkness or limited awareness that their egos could conjure up and transcend it to discover who they really are by following the same hero's journey as you are. Okay, so the dark night of the soul is just a trick of the mind then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all illusion. So it's part of the veil of illusion. There's no darkness. There's no reality to it at all. But it seems like you've got to go through this, intense darkness. Where the ego, the ego is trying everything it possibly can to convince you that it's true and prevent this awakening. But again, in the process, it reveals itself. Okay, so now you're going to show me all of the tricks you have in your bag, and it's intense and difficult to deal with, but I can let it go.
But for me, that works to think that the dark night of the soul is also an illusion. It's just something to know that when you're in that really difficult place, it's also an illusion. It's still an illusion.
Yeah, that's what gets you through. So if you believe it's real, then it becomes permanent. You see, reality and permanence go hand in hand. So the ego is telling you, no, it's real and it's permanent. So you can't escape. You're stuck in this. And then people get, depressed and hopeless. And sometimes they stay in that state for years because there doesn't seem to be any hope. This is permanent. But that's just an idea. That's just a belief.
So depression is just an idea. That's an interesting viewpoint. Yeah.
Oh, just an idea.
Mm.
And it's an idea that your sadness is real. There's justified causes for sadness, and that's real and that's permanent, and there's no way of escaping it. And depressive people have that mindset, don't they? It's like they just believe it's never going to end. It can't change, and that's just their lot in life. And so that's why they're depressed. They're not able to zoom out of that and look at it and say, "This is crazy." I'm just making all of these thoughts and emotions are just my own. I'm making it up.
Yeah, it's a tough place to be, isn't it? Because it's in depression, it's so dark, you can't see the light at all. It's the furthest point away from light. So yeah, it's difficult to pull yourself out of it. If somebody was telling you it's just a dream, it's just an illusion, it probably wouldn't touch base, would it? So.
Often, if you're down at this sort of level, let's have a look at our scale of consciousness. What's needed is an intervention that's appropriate. So for someone who's let's say they're in apathy, guilt, shame, apathy. These are the energies of depression. Well, what's the point? Like that would be apathy. Would be like a deeply depressed person. They can't necessarily comprehend forgiveness. That's a 350 understanding. It requires a level of understanding they don't have. So you start and try and move them to the next level. Okay, so the person who's apathetic, if they start to grieve properly for whatever they think they've lost, then that might, at least it moves them out of apathy. It moves them to a higher state. And then if they start looking and exploring their fears, at least they're moving out of the past, because grief and apathy are past oriented, into the future. So you want to move someone up the scale.
Yeah, I used to do that a lot with clients, take them up the scale. And
then they might become open once they've moved up a bit, and they're sort of starting to get a little bit of anger. So they might need to move through that. Pride. Now they may be ready for courage to say, okay, you're really willing to face this and really, let go of your demons. So it's a process. So there's many teachers and modalities that work to do this. They all have their place. It's not ultimately non-dual truth, but it's part of a process. Healing. Often, in tamas, in the Indian teaching, they have tamas, which is kind of lane one. It's the slow lane of inertia. So that someone in tamas would really be stuck in one of these four states: grief, apathy, guilt, or shame, on David Hawkins' scale. And then rajas is when you move into sort of more of an active mode, an action mode. Rajas is like, all right, I can do stuff, I can make stuff happen. And the mind gets very active and very busy. And this is the domain of what's often called success in this world. Oh, no, this person's really busy, they're really successful, lots of mind activity, goals, ambitions. So there's lots of desire fueling this. Often a lot of anger, those kind of people, typical A-type personality, loses their cool quite quickly because, they have all these expectations that aren't being met. So they don't have patience, tolerance, kindness, or understanding. And there's a high degree of pride. It's like, well, yeah, I'm okay, I'm doing all right. And because they've invested in that identity. And it will seem in the short term anyway to bring them results. You can make money, you can have success on the level of form, you can have bells and whistles in your life, and yet there's something missing. That's not the answer. And often what has to happen to those people, they have to burn out and maybe go into like some kind of depressive state in order to heal, in order to be humble, because pride is a huge barrier. If you think you've got your life sorted, and that everything's, you know, hunky-dory and you don't need to learn anything, then there's no way you can learn. And there's no way you can go beyond pride and move into positive consciousness, which is 200 and above. It's not possible because you're not open. So sometimes you need to drop down the scale, really be truly humble, and then be able to climb back up. So it's not just, you know, one-dimensional scale going one way. Like, actually, this works in many ways. You can drop down, you can go back up, because it works to help you manage your state. It's all about state, mental and emotional state management.
Mm.
So a very useful scale for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so where were we? On the deepest darkness, dark night of the soul. How can I get through this block? Did you read this? Because many other people have journeyed through the deepest darkness.
Yeah, I think I did that one. So
Yeah.
This is why Joseph Campbell's conception of the hero's journey is so helpful. It gives you a universally true blueprint for awakening from the nightmare of egoic consciousness to the knowledge of who you really are. And no matter what seems to be happening in your dream of being a separate self, the certainty that you will ultimately experience this knowledge fully, because this is the destiny of all who undertake the hero's journey.
Mm.
Yeah, so even those that don't look like they're changing or developing or making any changes in their life, they're still on their hero's journey, but just got a bit stuck.
Mm. Well, yeah. So they might not be in the active phase. They're in the known world. So if you look at the diagram again, hero's journey. You see this known world. There's many people who get stuck here for a long time, and they don't listen to the call. So it's the untaken hero's journey. Some people don't do it in their life. They just stay stuck in the known world their entire life. So, it's possible.
Mm.
The hero is the person who actively and willingly says, okay, I need to change. I'm up for this, and I'm willing to now, progress on this. I'm not just going to stay stuck in the known world my whole life. I'm going to move beyond that and go through the challenges and the trials and the temptations. Walk the path. To know the path is not the same as walking the path. You must walk it. And it is, it's the outliers. Not everyone does this. This is if someone's on this journey, they're on a spiritual path of awakening, and that makes them an outlier in our society, because most people are not yet, anyway, conscious. So you're a hero when you consciously sign up for it. It's okay, I'm up for this. Understanding what it's about, understanding the challenges, the difficulties. Okay, I understand all of that, but I'm going to do this because I know there's no other way. I have to do this at some point. There's no way of avoiding this. So I have to go through this process. So, all right, let's get it over with. Let's do it.
Mm.
Okay. So where are we? Did you read this? Because many other people journey through the deepest darkness or limited awareness.
Yeah, did the next bit. So we're down to understand the hero's journey more deeply, so it can help you more powerfully. Watch the 80-minute movie about Finding Joe, which was very good, and I might watch it again.
Yeah, it's definitely, I've watched it a couple of times. Definitely worth. It's a lot of in the talking of people interviewed. There's a lot of wisdom that comes through, and it's just inspiration. I think to expose yourself to it. It's like a frequency. You listen to it, and it definitely there's an energy transmission, and you feel the courage the conviction of what they're saying. Like, yeah, it's not about the normal path. Yes, there are challenges. It's not about fitting into the, the conventional mold that society wants to mold you. The one guy said, I think it was Mick Fleetwood, the drummer. He said it's not about feeding your family, which is like, a lot of people would have a huge problem with that. But it isn't about just doing that. You know what I mean? There's something more. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but it's like there's something more. And the idea of the hero's journey is if you listen to it, then everything will be taken care of under that umbrella. You might have to, leave the home, your family. I mean, look at what Moses had to do. I had to, in order to do the art of letting go, I had to leave my family for over 3 years. So that can happen because there's something else. There's another call, and you either listen to that and feel it and hear it, or you don't. And it's not always easy to. It's not easy to follow it in this world because the ego's program is that you should follow, the norm. And if you're doing what's not normal, then most people will say, well, why are you doing that? That's crazy. And why are you so difficult? And, why don't you just fit in and just make do and do what everyone else is doing, and so on and so on. And, the ego is tempting you to abandon the hero's journey, basically. Because what they're saying then is stay in the known world. Don't go on the journey. Just stay in the known world, in that very limited thought system, and don't challenge yourself, and don't explore who you really are, because that's what this journey is. And Yeshua says salvation here is your only purpose. Salvation is your only function. Okay, well, if it's my only function, then hero's journey is my only function. Okay, it does make decision kind of easy. So, okay, well, if that's the truth, then it doesn't matter what the alternatives are. Then there's only one choice. Speaks to what we were discussing yesterday about collapsing choice and just listening to one voice only, and saying, I'm only going to let that voice guide me. And you look at, we can learn from the journeys of others like Yeshua and the Buddha. They both kind of went out of their known world. It's recorded in the Bible that Yeshua, he gave up his carpentry. He had a little carpentry business and gave that up because he couldn't continue. And his family had huge issues with what he was doing. They were like, "What are you doing? Like going out there, preaching this stuff? It's like this is." It's recorded that he was estranged from them because they didn't understand. And when he said, well, everyone's my family, they took it as a personal insult or something, because they didn't understand that he was transcending the specialness of the family and saying everyone is my brother, everyone's my sister. So he had his challenges, and in fact I think it's recorded somewhere that he wept, and Jesus wept. It's short, it's one of the shortest lines in the Bible, two-word sentence. Jesus wept, and that was because of the difficulties having with his family. So that's one example. And then the Buddha, he abandoned his family. He had a wife and son. He had this cushy life, and he just abandoned it completely and went off to seek the truth. Well, I'm sure he wasn't very popular with his wife, his son, his father. You can imagine what he was thinking. What are you doing? You're a prince. I've given you everything. You're going to be the heir to my kingdom. You've got servants. You've got all the luxuries money can buy in those days. Like everything's taken care of. Why are you doing this? This is insane. Of course, it doesn't make sense from the ego's perspective. But if he hadn't done that, we wouldn't have Buddhism as a teaching which has helped many millions of people to find great peace of mind and help them to manage their lives better, because he had the courage to walk his hero's journey and go out of the known world. If he'd done what everyone else wanted him to do and stayed a prince, no one would ever have heard of him. Just would have been another prince, once upon a time, everyone's forgotten. So there's a seemingly a price in the world, but what we're talking about is beyond the world. This is timeless, it's eternal. So you have to look beyond worldly stuff and look to the eternal. Say, well, what is truly lasting? What's permanent? What's lasting? Well, it's only the spirit. And if I live my life according to that, then my life will have meaning and a purpose, and maybe some kind of legacy will be left, as Yeshua and the Buddha and other great teachers have left a legacy through their lives, because they held to what was permanent and eternal above what was temporary and transient. There's only two thoughts, isn't it? Yeshua saying it's God or Mammon. It's one or the other. You can't honor both. You're either on the hero's journey or you're stuck in the known world. That's your choice. You're either letting go in this way that he's teaching us, radically letting go, or you're holding on, you're attaching, and that's keeping you bound into the known world and a thought system of death, the death wish that's ultimately going to kill you, make you suffer and kill you. So, if you see it in those terms, the choice shouldn't be hard, should it? But we have to keep reminding ourselves, because the challenges and temptations are the temptation to abandon the truth and listen to the illusion, listen to the ego that's spinning your story to try and sabotage your hero's journey. Okay, so then listen to that. There's an 11-minute TED talk, which I found quite inspiring, because he was like talking about his own hero's journey of that he had to go on in order to make the movie. So the movie is a product of someone's hero's journey, and then you have a tangible product, a legacy that he's left because he walked the path. So that's how it works. Okay, so let's have a look at today's lesson, shall we? Any comments, questions?
No, that's all good.
Okay, so if you want to read the intro, I'm not a body.
I'm not a body, I'm free, for I'm still as God or perfect love created or extends me. It can be but myself I crucify. I only ever crucify myself.
I think, the translation is a bit more explicit. It's like, it can be, but I mean, it's an old-fashioned way of saying it. It can be but myself I crucify. Wow, okay. It's like you're speaking in 16th century English. I only ever crucify myself. Very simple, direct. So I'm only doing it to myself, even if it seems that someone or something else is doing it to me. And this is their responsibility. So take total responsibility. Yes, I'm responsible, because ultimately it's my belief system being projected out and being shown to me through this situation and everything that seems to be happening in the dream world. So I'm doing it to myself. Well, if you recognize that, then you'll stop doing it, won't you? I'm crucifying myself. Okay, well, maybe I should stop. It's kind of an obvious next step. But if you never realize that you're crucifying yourself and you think it's actually someone or something else doing it to you, then you can't take that step, because you think you're not responsible. So you see why this is like responsibility is so important, to take the responsibility and say, okay, yes, I'm responsible. So I'm not a victim of someone else. I'm not a victim of the world. And this is what gets you out of the illusion of being a victim, which is hell, the helpless innovator little life. To take the response, say, okay, it's just my projection. Whatever's happening, it's not consciously projecting it. We don't consciously do it. It's unconscious. It's happening from the subconscious or unconscious mind that's now generating these projections, which are showing up to show me the deep-seated belief that I must have. So I always ask yourself, what belief is being shown to me here? And when you see it clearly, there's the letting go. You can say, well, I can let this go. I don't have to honor this belief.
And I think it's something that just needs to be repeated a lot, doesn't it? Because, I can remember this. I remember doing it last year. And then, it kind of just drifts out of your focus a bit, or it drifts out of my focus a bit. Yeah, good reminder, good day for it.
Yeah.
I think sometimes the lessons appear in your life, don't they, on the day that the lesson comes up?
Yeah, it's amazing how that works. You seem to be given life situations that are appropriate for that day's lesson. You go, well, how could that be? Because it's just kind of random. I'm not even on, you're not following day 1, day 2, because we started in end of January. So, but that's just how, the spirit's non-linear. It just seems to work that way. Then makes you, when you see that, you go, okay, I'm actually not alone. And there is actually a beneficent force that's really, they're trying to help me through this. Because can this all be accidental and random? Or is there some kind of intelligence behind this that's, it seems to be orchestrating that these things coordinate, and that, I get situations that seem to match the lesson. So I can learn. It's for my learning. When you see that, then you started you've transcended the illusion that you're all on your own here, nothing's really going on, nothing else is going on, and this is a flatland world with no internal dimension, as as shown here in the diagram. So you've got to get out of the idea that only this is real, only the external, the behavioral systems, only that's real. We've got to let go of that entirely. Say, actually, this is primary. This is what's actually driving our life, spirit. And then as we see the synchronicities show up in the external, we start to believe more and more. You go, well, how can this kind of thing be happening if there's no internal dimension? Clearly, they can't. And so then we know the truth. As Carl Jung was asked, how do you know the truth? And he says, I just know. I don't understand the truth. I know the truth. So it's a deep knowing, and that's that's where we've been taken to, out of perception, where there's always doubt, into knowledge. You know the truth. And the skeptics will go, well, how do you know the truth? There's no evidence of it. There's no proof. Because you just know. It's gone beyond needing evidence. You've seen enough proof through the miracles to have the faith to know that this thought system must be true. So that's where he's leading us, out of perception and doubt into faith and knowledge. Okay, so let's have a look at just these couple of sentences.
All that I do unto myself. If I attack, I suffer. If I forgive, salvation will be given me. Alternatively, I do everything I do to myself. If I attack, I suffer. But if I let go, I will awaken from my dream of self-attack. That's nice. I'll awaken from my dream.
A bit of life. I added a bit of extra meaning. Salvation, but that's what salvation means. You're awakening from the dream of attacking yourself to the truth that you are one with your true self. You are love, and there is no attack. There is nothing to fear.
Yeah.
So he's saying very clearly, if I attack, I suffer, but if I let go, I will awaken from my dream of self-attack, and I will find peace, happiness, joy, innocence, love. Okay.
Yeah.
Happy with that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and then just the final, I'm not a body, I'm free. Read that again.
I'm not a body. I'm not a body. I am free, for I am still as perfect love extends me. Every time I say extends me, I see like this white light coming down from somewhere. I suppose I'm seeing the blue bubble in the Descent from Hell chart, and I see this light come down, extended to me. But that proves I still become separate.
Yeah, but that's okay. You know, he's using the words to reach us in our state of separation, in pure formless awareness, perfect love, in that state of heaven. You don't need words. You don't need these concepts. You don't need the idea that you're extended. You just are it. But until we've identified with it fully, you know, these words are helpful. So if the word helps you to connect more with that presence, let go of a bit more of your doubt, then it's a very helpful word.
Yeah.
And then use it.
Time for meditation?
Particularly if, you know, I think so, yeah. So just making yourself comfortable. So making yourself comfortable, sitting feet shoulder width apart, back straight. Cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. So just breathing in. Take a nice deep breath in. Clench the sphincter muscle. Lock the energy in. Draw the energy up the spine to your heart center. Put one hand on your heart, connecting with your heart space. And draw the energy up into the crown of your head. Just pausing at the top of the inhale. Scan your mind, so notice any thoughts, any emotions, any sensations going on, particularly anything that feels at all negative, limiting, contracted, constricting in any way. And just be willing to let it go with the help of your breath. Say, I'm not a body, I am free, for I'm still as perfect love extends me. Blowing it all away with the breeze of your breath. And resting in the deep peace comes when you let go of all attack. Say to yourself, I only ever crucify myself. All attack is really self-attack. So if you notice any attack thoughts, it can be thoughts of feeling attacked or attacking others. Attack comes in many forms, could be a bit of irritation, frustration, ranging to outright anger and rage, accusing someone of something, blaming, complaining. These are all subtle and not so subtle forms of attack. So and so just be willing to look at all that. Breathe in. As you're breathing in a golden or white light, It's coming into every pore of your body, every cell, every muscle, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being. And as you see any disturbance to your peace, observe the dynamics of the ego at work. Observe all of that, and you're willing to let it go now, reminding yourself that all attack is self-attack, and that I only ever crucify myself. So breathe the light in. You can imagine a beautiful golden or white light that helps you, or maybe just a feeling of lightness. Get it into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body. Every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in the light. And in the light, no darkness can continue. So can let it go. Exhale. And let it go. The breeze of your breath. Imagine a dark cloud leaving you out of your mouth. Blowing it all away. The breeze of your breath. So feel the peace and the power that comes when you relinquish all attack. Say to yourself, I do everything to myself. Feel the power and the presence of this. And just sinking inwards to this deep stillness, peace. Peace of God, peace of pure formless awareness, peace of perfect love that surpasses all understanding, it was called in the Bible. So you just rest in the peace and the certainty beyond attack, coming into a timeless space. And surrender into the state. Say, I'm not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me, or love, perfect love. Still as it extended me, still as it extends me. So it's very present. Feel that. Breathe it in to every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being. It's in the light of truth. The one self wants to extend through you. And so you extend it out. Exhale. Have a sense of this one self's light, this love extending through you to bless all the world. Blow it all out, let it all go. And go into the nothingness that it really is. Almost stomach it to the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And then you just rest in the peace and the stillness. Comes, you let go of all self-attacks, and I only ever crucify myself. And so only I can set myself free. So I do that right now. There's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. And sink inwards to the peace that awaits you. Sinking deeper and deeper with each breath. So the breath flowing in and out your nostrils, and let it take you deeper and deeper into this deep silent, still embrace. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax, be still. Any thoughts arise that seem to disturb your peace, any attack thoughts of attacking another, can be a subtle complaint, blaming them for something, outright anger, frustration. Observe that, or being attacked. You feel like someone's attacking you. Notice that it's really the same thing, the same quality of energy. So you just want to let it go now. That all attack is self-attack, and this one self beyond attack awaits you when you simply let go of the thoughts and feelings. Plague you, and release them into the nothingness they really are. So breathe in the light. Imagine a beautiful golden or white light flowing into you. All the cells of your body, and you just breathe out on the exhale any darkness, any limitation from that light. And sink inwards to the deep peace of God that surpasses all understanding. It's been called beyond all attacks. In my body, I'm free right now. If I'm still as God extends me right now, and attack is behind me, days of crucifying myself over. So just gently coming back, this deep state into awareness of the body and the breath and the senses and the world. And on the count of three, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Scan your mind at the top of the inhale. Notice any thoughts, any emotions, any sensations, particularly anything that feels like an attack thought. And you feel attacked or you're attacking someone else. can take the form of blame or accusation or complaint. Just notice and remind yourself that I only ever crucify myself, so I will not do that anymore. I'm not a body, I am free. I'm still as perfect love extends me in this moment. You exhale, blow it all out, let go of that energy of attack. It helps you imagine it's like a dark cloud leaving you. Going, gone to the nothingness that really is. You pull the lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And rest for a few moments in the gap between breaths. At the count of 2, notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair and your feet touching the ground. Notice what you're feeling with your hands and touching with them. Subtle flow of air on your skin, maybe. Breathe that air in. Notice any smell in your nose. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth. And notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. Just noticing all these things from this very still, calm, and surrendered state of mind, in which you realize the truth that you are the pure formless awareness that underlies all sense perceptions. So this is what reveals itself when you don't judge, you don't name, label, interpret, and judge. So now on the count of 3, open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around, observing various objects in the room around you. With detachment. Don't attach to anything. Don't name it, judge it, label it. Just allow it to be. And notice that this awareness, and hopefully you connect with quite deeply over the last 20 minutes, is still there, even though you are perceiving in the body's eyes and senses. And that will teach you that you are that awareness. No matter what seems to happen, no matter what you perceive, the senses, this awareness underlies or transcends it. Use whichever word you prefer. It's a sense of another dimension, deeper or higher dimension. Just language to try and denote something that's really beyond language. So that brings us to the end of the meditation. And yeah, we've maybe got half an hour to do some text, if you like. So let's have a little look at today's text reading then. Okay, so where sin has left. This one is called Where Sin Has Left. It's section 4 of chapter 26. So yeah, do you want to dive straight into the I've done a bit of translation, dive straight into the translation. It's only 5 paragraphs, so we might actually get through this in half an hour.
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Letting go is the world's equivalent to the state of pure formless awareness as justice. It translates the world of sin into a simple world where justice can be reflected from beyond the gate, behind which total lack of limits lies. Nothing in boundless love could need letting go. And what is charity within the world gives way to simple justice past the gate that opens into the state of pure formless awareness. No one lets go unless he has believed in sin. No one lets go and believes in sin and still believes that he has much to be let go of. Letting go thus becomes the means by which he learns he has done nothing to let go. Let go always rests upon the one who offers it, until he sees himself as needing it no more, and thus is he returned to this real function of being, and which his letting go offers him again.
Yeah. So there's all translations of forgive and forgiveness. So any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, you have to believe in sin to be able to need to let go in the first place. And then once you've let go and you're in pure formless awareness, there's no need to let go. Which is lovely.
Yeah, so forgiveness recognizes that what you think has happened hasn't really happened.
Yeah.
So there's nothing really to forgive. But until you've realized that, there's something to forgive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a paradox. The process until you realize, okay, I don't need to do this anymore because there was never anything to forgive. Which is why forgiveness is tricky. It's just the hardest thing because you're going up against the ego's whole illusion and saying, well, it's not real. And part of your mind says, well, how can you believe it's not real? It's happening. It's happened. It's happening. How can you say it's not real? The ego says that's insane. The ego calls the spirit insane. But the spirit says, but you're insane because you've invented all of this stuff just to cover over me.
Yeah.
And there's no point to it. You know, the illusion has no point. It has no meaning. Apart from the spirit that underlies it.
Yeah.
Letting go becomes it's the only illusion that ends all illusion. Every other illusion perpetuates illusions, but this illusion brings an end to all illusions. Okay, so any
so a sin is a transgression. So a sin is when you feel like you've transgressed, you've done something wrong. Yeah.
Done something wrong that feels permanent. It feels like you deserve to be punished for it. So there's fear, there's guilt. It's very heavy, and this is the ego's. This is the foundation of the ego because you think you've separated from God. You think you've really pulled off the impossible, and you've really done this. Returning to this idea here. Do you see why sin is so fundamental to the ego's thought system? Because you think that you really have separated. And something in the world confirms that. Oh, well, I've done this or someone's done this. Okay, that confirms the separation is real. It confirms that, yes, I am a separate self. I really have done this. I've pulled it off. And now I'm forever sinful and guilty because of that. And now I deserve to be punished. So I fear punishment and kicks the whole thought system off. But it can simply be stopped in its tracks by saying I never sinned, because separation's never really happened. It's an illusion. I believed in what's not true, so none of its consequences are true. And so it doesn't matter what my separate self seems to have done. That separate self isn't real. It has no reality. It has no existence. So I'm not guilty. I'm not sinful. That's the only way to collapse the idea of separation and your belief in it. There's no other way.
Yeah.
This is why this radical forgiveness or letting go is the only way. He says, forgiveness is the only way. Why would you seek another when this is the answer?
Yeah, knowing you're innocent.
Oh. When you had that shift 2 days ago, the awareness, the transformative awareness was, I'm innocent. I never did anything wrong. And that's such a relief. I actually didn't do anything wrong. I'm innocent. I'm not to blame. And we lift that burden of guilt from us. And that burden of guilt is the foundation of the ego. So it keeps it intact. So he returns to this over and over again because he's saying, unless you're really aware of this, the role that this idea of sin plays in your mind and in your ego's continuing existence, you are going to continue to allow it to have a place in your thoughts. No one lets go unless he has believed in sin and still believes there's much to be let go of. And he has much he needs to let, much he needs to.
Yeah, and that's often a belief with my clients, that they've got a lot to let go of. So I let go of that belief before we begin.
Yeah, but they seem to have a lot, but remember the lot is part of the illusion of the ego. It's like a lot. What is it really a lot? If it's one idea, what they've got to let go of is one false idea and a self-concept that is the expression of that idea. But it's one idea. That's why he's saying there's no order of difficult miracles, because let go of the one idea and it all falls. Practically speaking, that takes a while to let go of that idea. But actually, it is possible. It has been done by some people to let it all go in one go. It's possible. Eckhart Tolle did it. Ramana Maharshi, Byron Katie. Those are just a few examples that spring to mind, where it's like a boom. They drop it because it's an idea and a thought system, and it goes. It can all go in one go if you're ready.
I'd love to do it all in one go.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would be quite intense. But all of those people, Byron Katie went back into her life and tried to reintegrate. Eckhart Tolle had, he was in bliss, but his world, his life in the world sort of fell apart for a couple of years, didn't really do very much. And Ramana just departed his family and his life entirely. He was 16 and he left home, and he went and spent his life in temples and ashrams meditating. So it's a pretty radical, it changes everything if you have that kind of awakening. It's just giving us a gradual, like, so you had an epiphany a couple of days ago, but that's like, it's a big step, but it's just, it's another step in the process.
Yeah, a couple of days ago, I just said I'd like doing it gradually, but today I'm in the mood for like, oh God, let's just do it.
Okay, off we go. Well, there's no reason why you can't. It's one idea. You're willing to let go of every belief you have in that one idea. That's the question.
Yeah, there's lots of other beliefs supporting it. So
that's why for most people it's like it's a slow unpicking. It's like, okay, so let's go and unpick these beliefs and look at them and let that one go. Like, you're taking the ego's house that it's built down brick by brick, and then every now and then there'll be we'll smash that side, that bit out with a hammer. It's like unpicking.
And there is an enjoyment to that, brick by brick, and the avalanche. Yeah, it's good. Enjoy the journey.
Yeah. Okay, so happy to move on to number 2.
Number 2, right. Letting go turns the world of sin into a world of glory, wonderful to see. Each flower shines in light. Every bird sings the joy of the state of pure formless awareness. There is no sadness and there's no parting here, but everything is totally let go of. And what has been let go of must join, for nothing stands between to keep them separate and apart. The sinless must perceive that they are one, for nothing stands between to push the other off. And in the space that sin left vacant, do they join as one, in gladness, recognizing that what is of them has not been kept apart and separate. Yeah.
What's he saying?
That's pretty good when you let go. There's no sadness. Oh, lovely. There was a bit of sadness yesterday evening, I felt, when the news of the Queen dying came out. I didn't think much of it, I've got no particular attachment to her. And then about half an hour later, I felt really sad, really sad. Not thinking about her at all. And then I thought, oh, maybe I'm just picking up on the collective sadness. Because then I started doing the classic thing. Well, why am I feeling sad then? Or it must be because of this, or it must be because of that. And then I caught myself and went, no, it's not true. Let it go. And let it go, and it passed. But very rare for me to feel sad. In the oneness, no sadness.
And there's no parting, he says. There's no sadness, there's no parting. Because if we're all one, there's no death. All of that's disappeared in your mind.
Yeah.
And so you join as one with other people. So letting go restores your mind to the awareness that you really won. The Queen hasn't really died. She just no longer has a body. That's the truth of the matter. She still exists. She's just incorporeal.
She's just joined the oneness.
Her mind may still believe she's a queen, quite possibly.
Well, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
In which case, she hasn't joined the oneness. The ego's still there, but her soul, her spirit, her pure formless awareness is unaffected by all of it. It knows she's not really a queen. She never was a queen. That was just her role in this lifetime. And almost certainly, if she comes back, she's not going to be a queen in the next one. You can guarantee it. She'll have another experience. You'll be like, okay, well, you did that. So next time, what are you going to be? Maybe someone really common, poor person who's now got to experience what life's like at the opposite end of the scale.
Yeah.
Had a life of power and status and wealth and luxury, and now the next life, quite possibly, it's going to be something very different. And that's not any kind of punishment. That's just karma playing itself out, and lessons to be learned. So from all of these lifetimes, we can learn different lessons. I'm sure she's learned stuff from being the queen. Okay, what did you? Well, okay, that's there. Hopefully, that advanced you on your spiritual path somewhat, and then there's next lifetime we need other lessons. So you incarnate in a different form to give you the other lessons, because you've done that life. It wouldn't be helpful for her to be queen in her next life, or king, or whatever, because it's the same experience. Who knows, really? But that's the teaching, that you incarnate into lives that are helpful, that you can learn from. Because the idea is to learn, to escape it. So you need these lessons.
My last life must have been very social then, because I'm antisocial at the moment.
Yeah, maybe. We play with the dualities until we collapse them. Space that sin has left vacant, they do join as one. And gladness recognizing what is part of them has not been kept apart and separate. So it's the merging, the joining that letting go brings about.
Yeah. Okay. The wholly aware place on which you stand is but the space that sin has left. And here you see the face of true self arising in its place. You could behold the face of your true self and not recall his father, source.
Yeah, so didn't do a replace on that. Not recall.
So,
It's source.
as it really is. Who could feel love and stand upon the ground where sin has left a place for the state of pure formless awareness as altar to rise and tower far above the world and reach beyond the universe to touch the heart of all extension?
And the altar is, do you remember? So I'd be impressed if you get this one. What's the translation?
Oh, I remember reading it, but I can't remember. Tell me.
It's foundation.
Oh, right. I was thinking that.
The altar is the foundation of a thought system. Left place for the foundation of the state of pure formless awareness to rise and tower far above the world and reach beyond the universe to touch the heart of all extension. Creation, touch the heart of all being. So the idea of the foundation being raised far above the world, that's quite a nice image. To rise and tower far above the world and reach beyond the universe to touch the heart of all being. So reach beyond, so again, is he talking about the physical universe? Reach beyond the, it would seem there he's talking about the physical universe, beyond the physical universe. Because you're transcending it, the illusion of form and materiality.
Yeah, and then what is the state of pure formless awareness but a song of gratitude and love? Isn't that beautiful? It's extended to us, the extension.
By everything extended, so we are extended by the source to the source of its extension. So when we're in that state, when we're really happy, joyful, blissful, it's actually the worship or the praise of God. Like God doesn't need us to say, oh God, you're so great. And then it's you're in that state, and that's the worship and the praise.
Could it be it extends?
What is the state of pure formless awareness but a song of gratitude and love and praise? Let's just take out one of the M's. State of gratitude, love and praise by everything extended to the source of its extension.
Took out by, and so love and praise, everything extends to the source of its extension.
And does that make sense? But a song of gratitude, love and praise by everything. So he's saying by everything extended, which is us, the creator, the original was the created.
Okay.
To the source of its extension. So if we change it, we change the meaning of what he's trying to say.
Okay.
By everything extended to the source of its extension. To the source of its, to the source of its being. How about that? Okay.
And the holiest of altars. You're going to leave altars in that one.
Foundation, foundations. The purest of foundations.
Don't they say something about where sin was? It's something about it being the greatest love. Where there's been a battle, there's been, great love is blessed on it or something. Anyway, I've got to go now. But thank you very much. Sorry, I'll leave you to do the last bit.
Yeah. Okay, Sally. So I'll see you on Monday.
See you Monday, probably. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Have a nice weekend. Okay, so let's finish this. It's the purest of foundations is set where sin was once believed to be. And here does every light, every seemingly separate awareness in the state of pure formless awareness come to be rekindled and increased in joy. To be awakened. And made more joyful. For here's what was lost restored to them, and all their radiance made whole again. And their awareness made whole again. The wholly aware place on which you stand is only the space that sin has left. And here you see the face of your true self arising in its place. You could behold the face of your true self and not recall its source as it really is. You could fear, love, and stand upon the ground where sin has left a place for the foundation of the state of pure formless awareness to rise and tower far above the world and reach beyond the physical universe to touch the heart of all being. What is the state of pure formless awareness but a song of gratitude, love, and praise by everything extended to the source of its being? Purest of foundations is set where sin was once believed to be. And here does every seemingly separate awareness in the state of pure formless awareness come to be awakened and made more joyful. For here is what was lost restored to them, and their awareness made whole again. Beautiful. It's saying we can find our true awareness again in the state of pure formless awareness when we leave sin behind, when we let go of sin. So forgiveness or letting go brings no little miracles to lay before the gate of the state of pure formless awareness. For the Just make that simple. Before the state of pure formless awareness. Here, the extension of pure formless awareness, perfect love itself, the extension of perfect love comes to receive each gift that brings it nearer to its home. Not one seeming part of this extension. So we seem to be separate awarenesses is lost. And no one is cherished more than any other. So no one is cherished more than any other. We're all the same. The fragments of the one awareness are really all the same. Each part reminds him of his father's love. Each one reminds each one reminds the others of Source's love as surely as the rest. And each one teaches the others that what they feared love the most, what but a miracle could change. Change each one's mind so that each understands that love cannot be feared. What other miracle is there but this? And what else need there be to make the space between you disappear? So, space between the seemingly separate parts of the extension disappear. So forgiveness or letting go is the way that seeming separation between the seeming separate parts of oneness disappear. Those seemingly separate parts just fade away and are undone and disappear, face on the truth. Okay, so last one, where sin once was perceived, will rise a world. Sin was once perceived, the world will rise, become an altar to the truth. You will join the lights. The awareness. Seemingly separate. Separate awarenesses. Seemingly separate. Awarenesses of the state of pure formless awareness there. Sing their song of gratitude and praise. As they come to you to be complete, so you will go with them. For no one hears the song. Of pure formless awareness and remains without a voice that adds its power to the song and makes it sweeter still. And each one joins the singing at the altar that was raised within the tiny spot that sin proclaimed to be its own. And what was tiny then is soared into a magnitude of song, so the universe has joined. It's but a single voice. It's a really poetic language saying that our awareness will, seemingly separate awarenesses, will join in this one state of pure formless awareness. All the awarenesses are merged, there will be only one awareness. And this is the magnitude of the song in which the universe is joined with a single voice. And the universe then becomes a universe of truth. In this world, we experience that as the real world, and we experience the joy of the unity we really have with our brothers and sisters. Okay, so just really saying, personalized executive summary is simply that. Let's go back to the beginning. That we must let go. Turns the world of sin into a world of glory. So I must let go. Key message that I must let go. Oops. The My true self will show me. When I do let go, merge my awareness. Let's see. My source is awareness and its extensions. Sources. And its extensions. And enter into the state of pure formless awareness. This one-ment will fill me with joy. Make my life meaningful. And joyful. Joyful experience. A meaningful and joyful experience. Kind of the body and this world. And to fully enter the state of pure formless awareness. Okay, so there we go. I think that is done for today. So I'll send this out if you're on the Puzzle Letting Go group. I'll send this out to you. If you'd like to find out more about us, if you're a visitor, then go to theaolg.com. I'll post that in the YouTube box below this video. To find out more, join me for a free masterclass that I'm running soon. where I'll tell you how you can join this process and really study Course in Miracles in depth with us to undo the ego and find a joy that is not of this world. So thanks for listening, and wish you a very peaceful afternoon and evening and weekend ahead. Namaste. Which means the divine self, or Christ in me, acknowledges and honors that same true self or Christ in you.